Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cardboard Hands. We have big news this week. We meant to reveal this last week, but we got a little bit overexcited about it and sort of talked about it in the middle. But we are switching channels here. We are both going to be on our own channels like usual, having our own YouTube channels. But now instead of this podcast just being on one or the other and not knowing where to find it, it will have its own dedicated channel called, you guessed it, Cardboard Hands Podcast. And so if you haven't already, please go over there. We'll at the end of the video, there'll be a link to that podcast as well.
Link at the bottom
right here as well, and down below in the description, all the different links for you. But please go subscribe there. We're gonna try to funnel all the episodes over to that. It'll probably happen between next week and the week after. We'll just kind of rip the band-aid and start loading all of the episodes there, but we're going to try to slowly go into that. So first things first, big news for the channel. Just with the extra channel, we're going to kind of funnel all of that there. So welcome back, guys. Thanks for coming. How's it going, Wee? How you doing today, man?
Good, just chilling. Same old. What about you?
Yeah, pretty good. Chilling. Feeling a little ranty today. Feeling a little bit probably good for a podcast, to be honest. Feeling a little spicy, as my Discord would like to say. Spicy boys, feeling like a spicy boy today.
Jeez. Feeling a little bearish. That's that you were telling me earlier. So
yeah, I was actually just looking at my YouTube my content just recently that I've been putting out, and literally like 4 out of the last 5 videos I put out have all had something to do with either Pokemon crashing, the title is like bearishness, or like, you know, whatever. And then, you know, I guess you can kind of see from my costuming here, I'm feeling a little bearish. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling, I feel like we're finally out of that stonk hype beast, like, you know, supreme, whatever. Like, hey, my grandma's calling me, asking me about like what they have, these Pokemon cards, and they think they're really valuable, and like what should they do with them? Like, I feel like we're finally getting out of that. So I guess I'm feeling a little bit bearish about that. What do you think? What do you feel? How are you feeling lately?
I feel good. I don't feel very bearish at all. But like I was saying earlier, I feel like we're doing different games. You know what I mean? For me, I've been buying a lot. Like over the past 2 weeks. I don't know the last time I talked to you about this, but I bought a lot. It was like a $2,400 lot. This is sports cards though.
Yeah, $2,400. No, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll just talk about it real quick. $2,400 on sports. It was like a card I got into for $2,400. I traded that for a whole lot, and then I spent $1,700 on a vintage Pokemon lot. So I've been going in. Even today, I spent like, I mean, this isn't like that much, but I spent like $80 on like a handful of cards. So
speaking of sports, I was thinking of you when I saw that Drake was opening that Michael Jordan set that you have the rookie of, the Fleer.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
That's crazy.
How
he pulled it first pack.
Golden, they were opening packs together.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think Drake is genuine. I think Drake's genuinely into it, but Drake's also like a trend hopper at the same time.
Oh yeah, both. I think both of those things are true. I think he is genuinely into it, but I also believe he's a hype beast and a trend hopper. You're 100% correct there.
Because he knows what's cool. Like, you know what I mean? And he can be like, oh, this is cool. I can get into this side of, you know what I mean? He's always the homie who gets these like up and coming rappers and gets them in on his songs because he knows that style is going to be like the next in like a year or so, you know?
Yeah, I thought that was cool. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting little aside. So yeah, Golden. Another thing, man. Have you heard about all these different vault services? Have you heard about the eBay vault service?
No, I haven't.
Well, you already know about PWCC's vault, right? Do you know what the vault is? Okay. It used to be PWCC, as far as I knew, was sort of the only ones that did that. So eBay has a vault service now.
They're doing it?
Oh, yeah, they're doing it. They announced it maybe a couple weeks back. We didn't get a chance to talk about it on the last podcast, but I think it just got announced. But yeah, so after eBay announced it, then I think today another company announced it. Who was it? Who was the announcement? But everyone's getting in on these vault services. I was thinking, you want to start a vault service up?
Let's do it. I'm down.
All right, folks. If you're listening, send us your cards. We'll sell them. That's it. You don't get the money back. There's no like, a guarantee or anything. Just send us your cards. We'll sell them. You're basically getting the same thing from these other vaults, though. I mean, you're basically people are just sending cards to put them in the vault and then sell them and resell them. And to a certain extent, like I think people will never see these cards, and that's fine and everything. But do you think that leaves a little bit of room for like foul play, like okay, for example, say a fake counterfeit card, right, gets sent to one of these vault services and it gets authenticated by someone who's inputting this stuff into the vault service, and maybe it's not even intentionally mishandled, but say it was mishandled and a inauthentic card slips by and gets into the vault. Say that gets sold to another vault member later on down the road, and so the vault just switches ownership. It doesn't actually ship, and you then have the counterfeit card going to a new owner, and it then already authenticated, and then then it never goes and gets shipped out to the owner because it's in the vault, and then further down the line it gets sold again and it goes to a new owner. Like, how far can you try? And then at that point, if it's ever, when does it ever get out of the vault? And then it was already authenticated by someone. So when it does come out of the vault, are they even going to honor someone who gets it and says, hey, this is an inauthentic card? They're going to say, ha, 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 buddy. No way. You just switched that. We've had that for 20 years in our vault. We know that's authentic. When in reality, maybe no foul play was had, but it was just not, input the correct way. Because let's be honest, they miss things. Like even graders, PSA miss things.
It'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think there's any room for, like, I don't know, with all these vault services and stuff, like at first I thought it was a perfectly fine service, and it was good for people to like use if they didn't want to have their high value cards in their own house because it was too valuable for them, and like it was made more sense to just have it at an auction house like PWCC storing it for them. But like I just feel like it leaves when all of these different like new, like, mom and pop startup vaults come in and they give you the $69.99 discount to get in and store their cards. It leaves a lot of room for foul play, not even intentionally, but maybe like, just on accident, just because they're people and they make mistakes.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I mean, obviously at the end of the day, there's going to be weird things that happen. Like there's going to be things that slip through the cracks. I feel weird about vault services, honestly. I've never used one. Have you ever used one?
So no, but I've been considering it because I have some cards like PSA slabs that I like. I don't intend on like diamond handsing, but I also don't intend on like putting on my whatnot and starting at $1 for like 30 people in the room. Like I need to have a big auction. It needs to actually have good exposure. They're like high value cards. So like, so there are cards that I would like want to store there that I don't necessarily have a reason to have here, but like at the end of the day, I guess I would still rather have them because I like to look at them once in a while.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
And
I like the physicality.
Like their cards are the reason I like cards and not like, shout out to Echo Based Collectibles, but like Transformers is because like cards are like, little tiny pieces of cardboard, whereas like a Transformer figure is like this big bulky box thing. So if I want 1,000 of those, it's going to take, so like for like a card for me to store a PSA slab, it's like not that big a deal, I guess. I mean, until I'm looking at like 1 million slabs or something, then maybe we're talking about a problem. But
yeah, no, I feel that, honestly.
But if you sell a lot, like for example, you're using the service, like if you sell a lot through PWCC, like their service every single week or twice a week, or the 420th second of every day they do an auction. I don't know when they're doing the auctions nowadays, but if you sell a lot through PWCC and like you don't want to send your cards to them, I could see an argument being made to use their vault service. And so that's what eBay is trying to copy. And I think that
it makes sense.
I mean, and there are other companies that are trying to do the same thing, I think, too. Oh, PSA is opening their vault service. That's who it was today who announced it.
Are they?
Yeah, so they're offering, it's actually PSA. I couldn't think of it in the beginning of the podcast when we were talking, but yeah, it's eBay has one and PSA has one now too, as well as PWCC. So like at a certain point, like what is going on here? And does it feel like eBay kicked PWCC off of their platform because they wanted to do their own vault service? and they didn't want to have like this competition. Like, I don't know. Do I need to take the bear hat and get a tinfoil hat on and put it on? Maybe put the tinfoil over the bin, but starting to get a little conspiracy theory here. Like
Have you heard? Huh?
I'm in a ranty mood. I'm in a funny mood today. So like we're gonna get this podcast and go some weird places. So buckle up, listeners.
Have you heard the conspiracy theory about eBay? It's the PWCC thing, but it's also about eBay putting in CSG and planning for the future Fanatics thing.
No, but tell me, please.
It's a sports card theory, but it's like the theory is that so with like is it CSG who's doing the authentication, like CGC and CSG?
It's CGC.
Yeah. So CSG is the sports side of CGC.
Oh, that's right. That's the same. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then so the theory is that what they're gonna do is eBay is teaming up. There's like a low key, they're teaming up. I don't know the exact details, but the theory is like supposedly they're in the works with Fanatics. And so what's gonna happen is you're gonna buy cards on eBay and you can get them you can get them what's authenticated through CGC, but at the same time you can also get them graded at that in between process. So they're trying to like get a stronghold on every part of the process with Fanatics. That's the theory. That's like, and then so then they'll have grading, they'll have selling, they'll have buying, and they'll have like auction house vault stuff. It's just, I don't know. It makes a lot of sense when you put it on paper, but
it's like the trifecta of market manipulation. Like if you have all of those like pieces, you literally will have nobody who's going to tell you otherwise. If you want to show your auctions, you want anything shady, anything, you can grade your own. Like it seems like at a certain point, like, okay, let's just go ahead and say this podcast is never ever going to be sponsored by any of the grading companies, and that's my fault. I'm going to say I'm sorry, all right, because I know you have a different so this is not you have a different feeling about grading companies than I do, but I think that the whole grading process is such a freaking scam. It is just a flat outright like shenanigans. I'm sorry, we're not ever going to be sponsored by PSA, CGC, or BGS unless BGS ever stops making me submit cards through the Pony service or the the Pony Express. I feel like whenever I have to send something to BGS, if I wanted to on their website, I think you have to like, first of all, you hear the AOL when you go to their website still, and you have to like chisel into their order forms. You have to chisel it in stone when you send your cards to them. No, all jokes aside, BGS is just they're just not even in the question anymore. They're so outdated. So we won't ever be sponsored. They don't sponsor people. They don't even know what sponsorships are.
PSA doesn't sponsor people either, I don't think. Like on YouTube, only CGC does.
I think they have partnerships, right?
I haven't seen any.
I know
eBay will.
With like middlemen, they'll partner, but I guess it's not a direct sponsorship. You're right.
The only company is CGC, and I'm like, I don't want a CGC sponsor. Well, I mean, if the payout was right, I'd be down, but
I don't think so. I don't think I could put myself behind CGC. Like,
this video is sponsored by CGC.
Yeah, love you, Squeaks. Love your hair. Hope you win. I loved the podcast when you and Radar had your podcast. I hope they go back to it, by the way, because it's partially in part why I wanted to start this podcast. But I don't think we would ever be sponsored by CGC, not just because they listen to what I say and because I don't think they'd ever listen to what I say, but because of what I say. And also because I don't think I personally would ever want my name behind that company right now. They are scandalous right now, bro. Scandalous. I mean, they're partnering, their big celebrity partnership right now is with Chum-Li. Like,
oh, they partner with Chum-Li?
That's their big thing. Like, that's where who's going to all their like that's their celebrity that they're putting their name behind. Like, that's not didn't he just get out of prison or something? Sorry,
dude,
Chum-Li,
that's funny. I'm researching that.
Didn't he just like either get out of prison or fight off some sort of like prison? I don't know. I'm probably wrong about this, but like
CGC trading cards X Chum-Li box break. Dang, they really posted it on their YouTube. That's funny.
So some of the tens, you remember this whole conspiracy theory about CGC giving out more tens has been going around in the hobby, and like we probably haven't talked a lot about it on this podcast because we do it every 2 weeks, but in the last 2 weeks it's went from a theory to more of like it's established that they've really loosened their grading standards over the last couple of months, but it's hard to say where that standard was loosened, because I've had certain people send in submissions of pack fresh, brand new, vintage, modern, whatever, like already pre-graded to be perfect. None of this like tiny white dots on the corner BS, like, yeah, pack fresh my ass. But none of that, like real good pack fresh cards, and get just slaughtered with it. And I've seen other people like live, like sellers and people that I have sent in large submissions, just get like 25% 10 submission rate. And so like it goes both ways. And so the real conspiracy theory for me, it went from like when you saw in CGC they were doing with Chum Lee a live break of Jungle, a first edition Jungle.
Yeah, I just saw that.
And the head grader was right next to him, just as he took the cards, grading it right there. And their argument was that the reason those cards were so highly graded was because, oh, it didn't have to go in the mail. Like, oh, if it was implying that the people who were sending these cards were like either mispackaging them or like the mailman is all USPS, and the reason they handed out 8.5s for like 2 years in a row is because USPS has been mishandling it. It's like, oh, if you guys would have just dropped us off the card, we'd have given 10s no problem. It's like, that is bullshit. I'm sorry, that is just straight bullshit. And so that's just some shady crap. I mean, do you think that's even like, what, aren't there even layers of problems like with that even past? And like, isn't grading supposed to be it's supposed to be objective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, how is it objective when the person you're grading for, the celebrity, is right next to you looking over your shoulder? Like, how is that subjective in any such way? And when they're a celebrity too, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, no, I would never put my name behind CGC at this point.
CGC is kind of mid. That's just my opinion. I know there's a lot of people.
We should grade with CGC though in the future.
I'm going to.
Certain things.
There's a handful of, I think every grading company has its like purpose, and CGC definitely has its purpose depending on your goals. So
I'm sorry I went into full rant mode there, but like that I felt some kind of way about that kind of crap with CGC. Like, I thought they were supposed to be like this company that like was they hands off, they graded difficult because they graded really hard, but it was like a standard that they upheld. And I was okay,
they gave up.
Yeah, I was beginning to be okay with it a little bit, being like, okay, like the market doesn't like it, but I can, it's like a standard, and they don't want to say it's a perfect card unless it's truly a perfect card. But like, nah, they're done, they're cool off that. But it doesn't seem like that's the case for everyone. So like, I wanted to send in 50 cards to CGC just to test them, but that is $750 for a bulk submission. And like, for me, I don't want to hand them $750 just to get slaughtered with a bunch of 8.5s, because I'm not.
Yeah, no, 8.5, 9, 9,
yeah.
9, 9, 9, 9.5, 9, 9.
Oh, I'd be so happy with 9s, bro. 9s would be fine. 9s and 9.5s, but I think I get slaughtered on 8.5s. And it just doesn't feel good. So like, I'm sorry for going full rant mode. I really am, everyone, but who had to listen to that. But that's just how I feel. And then, and another thing, they're too expensive. They're too damn expensive. All right. $15 is too much.
Yeah.
It is. It just is. $10. Bring me $10 grading, $10 grading.
I don't think 15 is super bad in comparison to other grading companies, but at the end of the day, it's like CGC just doesn't bring that extra value to your cards. So
that's what I mean. Like, you're paying $15 for it to be worth less raw. Like, I mean, it's worth more raw than worth, in the slab. Like, I consistently, I'm a whatnot seller, right? And so I consistently see this, like, so there's, I mean, we should talk about this at some point, but there's a level of gambling that comes with grading that people
grading is gambling.
Yeah. And
grading is skillful gambling.
So yes,
you
can. Yes. Okay. I agree. But it's a gamble, right? It's like, the part of the game is like, you pick your cards, like, it's a layer. It's so you've already done your pack opening, you're maybe past the pack opening. Now you're into like buying singles, looking for mint cards and stuff. But then like that next layer is like, okay, then you got to go to PSA. And then like, even if it's a perfect card, you still got to worry about that grader, had a bad night last night and, lost in his Fortnite tournament or whatever it was that, his fedora, his favorite fedora got lost and got a stain on it. I don't know whatever the graders are into these days, but like whatever it was, you have to worry about that perfect card going through that grader's hands and him just giving it a 9 just because it's spiteful, just because maybe it's not the perfect centered. And so like that's a level of gambling. And then like when you get that grade back, you get to like open the box. And I don't know if you're like me, but I can't help but like look at the grade when I get the submission. I can't wait till it gets to my hand. So I already know the grade before it ever sends off to me. But
yeah, I submitted 50 cards. I know the grade of every card already. They're coming back next week, so we'll see.
Yeah, but do you think that like grading is even like, man, we talk about this all the time and I'm always just like, do you think grading is even a scam? But like, do you think it's even worth it? Like, if besides the whole monetary value, do you think it adds real value at all?
I like it personally. I feel like at first, when I first started, I remember I was like, I will never own a graded card. Graded cards are dumb. You know what I mean? But now I genuinely really, really like them. And it's like, I know there's the argument where it's like, oh, I know people get in this argument a lot where it's like, well, yeah, it's a 9 in a PSA 10 case. Or like, like that, those types of things. Like, it's like, dude, like I had a PSA 8 and then I regraded and I got a PSA 10. But it's still a PSA 10 to me. And it's like, yeah, no one is, it goes back to the fact that everything's done by humans. Nothing will ever be perfect. Sometimes a 9 will be a 10. Sometimes a 10 will be a 9. Sometimes an 8 will be a 10. Sometimes a 10 will be an 8. But that's just the name of the game. That's how I feel personally. You know what I mean? And I genuinely like having like.
But like, what's the value a graded card adds? So like having the number, does it give any value? I might argue it takes away the value, because then if you ever want to like put it in a binder to complete a set, or maybe if you want to like, God forbid, you want to play with the card, like we're not even talking about playing, but like if you want to do something with it besides just having it in the slab, if it's like mid-grade, you have to crack it out. So like what I might think that there's a level, like a certain point where so many cards are slabbed or people are slabbing just everything that like you kind of want the raw card, because like the slab is just another layer that you have to kind of crack anyway. Because like a mint card is a mint card. I don't know. I think a mint card is a mint card. That would be my thought process.
I think a mint card is a mint card, but I want to have a mint card graded as a 9 or a 10. So it stays. I like the physicality of that, if that makes sense. Like it's encased, it's done. There's nothing else to it. There's no argument. There's nothing. No one can say anything, and that's the end. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a PSA 9. This is a PSA 9. This is what PSA 9s go for. There's none of this. This is raw. This is this. You know what I mean?
I got a case for you, buddy. It doesn't take 2 years. It doesn't take 2 years to get it back. It doesn't have some weird number on it either that's arbitrarily graded by some, 20 something, dollar an hour paid PSA grader who hates his life, lives in Southern California in poverty because PSA can't afford to give him a better wage. And so he's grading your cards, that should get 10s. He's grading them, or 9s, and he's giving 8s, 10s just to kind of laugh, be like, I mean, I don't think that's happening, but you know what I mean though,
I see what you're saying, but I genuinely, like, for me, like, I don't like collecting raw cards at all. Like, I don't know. Like, I have a binder that's kind of like PC, but I'm also like, it's like when I collect cards, I'm like, oh, if it's gonna be like a 7 or an 8, I don't really want it unless it has a extreme, like it's like a crazy card. Even like, I mean, I'm not that trophy like card grind or anything, but it's like, I don't know, like I don't want anything that's like not a 9 or a 10.
What do you think of my PSA 1 collecting?
I respect it, honestly. It's not for me, but I respect it. There's some cards where I wish I had PSA 1s up. I wish I had a PSA 1 Dark Magician Girl first edition from MFC. That card is fucking dope. That's pretty much it, honestly. Because I'm like, I don't like, in Pokemon, Charizards would be cool in PSA 1s, but I don't even like any of the Charizard cards. I like go out of my way to not get Charizard cards.
Bro, Charizard. last sold Charizard first edition PSA 10. Everyone listening, this is a treat for you. This is how I know we are living in the best timeline. Like anyone who wants to say this is like the worst timeline, the dark timeline or whatever, I just want to make the argument that a Charizard just sold in auction for a new record high price in a down market, mind you, and it supposedly was already paid for too. I think that's what the who knows, the articles never get it right, but I do know the sales price. It was $420,000 and 69 cents.
Sheesh, no way.
I am literally like, when I heard that, I don't know. I dropped everything I was doing, and I pretty much had a wave of happiness just rush over me, because like that's not only a high price, which that's great, whatever, high price, cool, but like that's the price. Like there's no, I can't think of a better price until it gets into the 420 millions, but that's the price, 420,069 cents. Like that is the price of, we're living in the best timeline, folks. So you're welcome.
That's a good
You're
price.
welcome for that little piece right there.
That's crazy. It's been paid for?
Supposedly, according to the whatever, like, what is it? I don't know. Was it like Vanity? The first album, or what is this? Dexter, whatever. The first Google search article that came up said it was paid for, but
Dang,
it was,
that's
I think it was
crazy.
like last week or a week and a half or so ago when the auction actually happened. And these auction houses are so shady that they will never actually admit openly when something isn't paid for, because then it's like, was it shilled? And then people, they just don't want to say the S word when in regards to anything with their auction house, because there is so much shilling that goes on there that they don't want to have to draw attention to it by admitting the word exists. So they won't even say, oh yeah, sorry, this is a misbid, and like retract it if it was. So who's to say if it was paid for or not? How do we even know unless the actual seller or buyer says something? Which is how we found out with the Zahora, artist signature. There was recent auctions for a bunch of like I think illustration contests, Zahoras, and they almost like, I think there was like 11, there's a bunch of them, and 9 out of the 11 didn't get paid for.
Yeah.
So
dang, that's crazy. Honestly.
I don't know, man. There's just so much shadiness right now, bro. There's so much shadiness, and I'm not here for it. Like, this is a wholesome hobby, and these hype beasts and these grading companies and these auction houses are coming into Pokemon. These are sports card things, bro, and they're coming into this Pokemon, this thing that like all these people love. Like, it's a nostalgia thing from their childhood that they love, like these colorful ass boxes, and they're just turning it into like this scam money, like hype beast. Like, what is this? Like, I can't, I don't know. I'm not feeling it right now with that. Like, I'm okay with like high prices on things being in demand and stuff, but when it turns into this like shill bidding, like auction houses controlling everything, like the news is always about, this new high bid that got shilled or whatever, and it's just like, man, what is going on right now? I thought we were moving out of that, I guess, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe we're just moving into the next, the final form.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like it's just part of the growing pains of everything. You know what I mean? Especially when something goes from being like kind of somewhat like not even that valuable to being crazy valuable. But I don't know. I feel like it's part of the process because
I guess. I mean, organized play is coming back. The regionals just happened, and there's a new top deck, which is really, and it's really encouraging to see that people are really like excited and like they're playing again. Like, that's incredibly encouraging to me.
I think, I don't know, man. It's hard too, because sports has been such a long, sports cards is like a way longer history than Pokemon cards. And I think Pokemon cards has the ability to reach into that longevity. You know what I mean?
I think
It
they
just
could do
depends.
better. I think they could do better.
You think so?
I think trading cards inherently have more value than collectible sports cards.
No, I think I disagree with that. because I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you
It
can
just
play
depends on
with the
how.
trading card.
Hmm.
That's all it comes down to for me, is that they have that value. And I understand that people don't play with them, especially with things like the trophy cards and stuff like that. They were never meant to be played with.
Hmm.
But like at the end of the day, I think it may not be much value, but I think inherently that adds more value.
Okay. I feel like with sports cards, it holds a sort of a piece of like history related to that specific player, and so that like holding that essence or that feeling of history actually has a lot of intrinsic weight and value. Like it doesn't have any like, what's the word, like physical value, but it has that cultural value. You know what I mean? And I think cultural value and historical value goes a long way. Like I
People
don't
die
know.
though. Pokemon don't die. Players, athletes die and
What's up?
retire.
Wait,
So
what
like
happened?
players and athletes die, whereas Pokemon
Mm-hmm.
don't die per se, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
maybe the same good argument could be said for Pokemon. Has that historical relevance, that cultural relevance that might even reach more people, because maybe an athlete, okay, to know and love Michael Jordan, you kind of had to have been around in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, like maybe in the 2050s. People are going to remember Michael Jordan, sure, but maybe they'll remember LeBron a little more, or maybe a new up and coming, player. Like, whereas like they'll still be making Charizards as long as Pokemon's around at that point. So like, I guess it depends on whether or not, and I guess sports have more of a history of staying longer than trading card games do. So there is that level of confidence that you add to, like, oh yeah, football. I believe. Well though, I
Hmm.
actually don't think that's true. I believe that football, as we know it, American football, will disappear in the next 25 years.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. It's dangerous. It's too dangerous. It's either
Hmm.
going to change so much that it will not be recognizable at the form that it is now, or it will be completely gone. So I was almost going to say I think that sports have less likeliness of changing or being phased out of popularity, but I disagree with my own statement now, because I think that there are times, lots of times, where you can see sports go in and out of popularity.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I feel you. That makes sense. I think they'll always be a mainstay in our culture, though.
Yeah, some sort of sports, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. For me personally, I just can't ever see. Well, okay, taking cards apart, like taking cards, no talk about cards, but just I feel like sports in general, like the three main sports or whatever, have a higher chance of being more relevant than Pokemon ever will be. Do you know what
Like
I'm saying?
basketball, baseball, football, those three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think just as like a cultural thing, there's more people who, well, maybe it's to the people I'm exposed to, but I feel like there's more people who like know about sports and feel very passionately about sports than Pokemon in a general mainstream audience.
What about
Do you
pop
know what I'm saying?
culture?
Hmm.
You think there's more people who are into sports than, say, like pop culture, like Marvel or Game of Thrones or like Star Wars, or like, IPs like that, or Pokemon? I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
then sports, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I can see a growth. Maybe I'm in a bubble, right? And so like I want this to be true, so that's why I see it. But I can see a potential for maybe not all of them, but maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I guess sports have a wider reaching because they're international.
There's that too, and it's just like they're just crazy industries, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's like in basketball there's like 30 teams, every team has an arena, they make millions and millions and millions of dollars like off of just one arena per team, and then it's like it changes based on the teams. I think there's a lot more money, there's a lot more people, there's a bigger fan base just within the fandom of sports. That's just my theory. Like I don't have any data to prove it, like you know what I mean?
No, I feel you, and I
But
can see that being I can see an argument for that being made for sure. And I don't know.
um
I go back and forth. I guess just even in this conversation, I kind of go back and forth on it, how I feel like, but maybe I'm
yeah.
not so bearish as I thought, because I'm bullish long term, but
I think Pokemon, yeah, like I'm not even like saying like Pokemon can't be like sports or anything, but I'm saying I think it can, like cards, like Pokemon cards can reach that threshold of sports cards. That's just my feeling. You know what I mean?
I think so too. But I don't know how I feel about like all of the crazy like the market manipulation surrounding it, getting there, all the scandals and all like I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like it. Actually, I do know how I feel about it. I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but I think it's part of the, like I said, growing pains. You know what I mean? It's part of the process. Whenever there's a lot of money involved with anything, there's gonna be a bunch of people trying to pump do whatever they need to do to come out on top. But I do genuinely think, like, all that aside, the price, like the price is going up, everything, there's a genuine fan base behind a lot of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I would
sure,
agree. I would agree. No, I think I'm just being ridiculous, but
I respect it.
I'm in that kind of a mood tonight, I guess.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I don't know. There is always a lot of shit going on, but also I always feel like there's a lot of good shit going on too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the new Astral Radiant, or not Astral Radiance, the new Legends, like Arceus Legends boxes that they just released. I don't have any more right now because I broke them all down. They are so good for the hobby. I'm so happy for them. They just changed some of their packaging and put out this new product, and it's made almost entirely of cardboard. It's wonderful. Like they're like just the sheer change of the packaging from like that plastic and like metal tin that they used to use like a plastic insert to just mostly all cardboard was like such a subtle move that I appreciate so much, like as a seller and someone who like moves so much of that product that I don't know, I feel like one of the things I feel guilty the most about as like a Pokemon trading card seller consumer is like all of the environmental impact that like the packaging has, and like all of the plastic and all the like foil wrappers and like the pack just all of that. It's just so bad on the environment that like it's oftentimes sort of glossed over because we're so happy about the nostalgia it provides. But like what good is nostalgia if you're like, I don't know, this is going to sound really hippie-ish, but what good is nostalgia if you're like destroying the world like to get there? Like there's not going to be any nostalgia for your kids later if there's nothing left. So like, I don't know. I appreciate that move in packaging. And I saw another company do this just recently. Do you know Flesh and Blood, Legend Story Studios?
Mm-hmm.
They just moved from foil wrappers on their packs to paper wrappers. Literally. So that, I mean, I think that's huge. It's so cool. And like, you can't see through them. They're not tamperable. Like, I saw a couple reviews of them. They're really good. I mean, I really hope that we see that sort of a trend happen. Like, because as negative as I was feeling, that's a really positive thing, I think, for sure.
No, definitely. I remember, do you remember the Hidden Fates Ultra Ball and like all that stuff? The packaging was horrendous. Oh my God.
So big for so little of what you got.
Yeah, no, exactly. And they used to do that all the time. They put so much plastic in this stuff for nothing. So it's a good environmental move.
Bigger is better. According to them, bigger is better. So make it bigger. No more plastic, you know?
Yeah. But
yeah, I am sort of, it just, maybe I'm more aware of it now. Maybe it was always happening, and I guess I shouldn't let it affect me or anything, but like, you hate to see it, right? You hate to see that kind of, I guess, shills manipulation. And I guess I am just more aware of it now because I'm checking the market all the time. I'm watching it. But I've also been buying a bunch, though, to kind of bring it back, though, a little bit. As bearish as I've been feeling, I've been buying quite a bit. Have you been targeting anything in particular? You said you've been buying a bunch. What have you been getting? If you don't want to say exactly, you can be vague too, because I understand.
No, I'm good. There's nothing I'm buying in particular. I really like, I mean, let's see. I really like alt arts right now, but everyone likes alt arts. But I mean, I like that like in between like team up area. You know what I mean?
So I've been buying those too. I think we're targeting the same things.
I think they're a good buy. I haven't been buying them a lot, but when I see them, I'll like get them, especially in person at a store. You know what I mean? If you
Oh
can get in
yeah, yeah.
person,
I'm doing it
it has.
blind. Yeah, I'm just buying them in mass from TCG Player.
No, I think that's a good call personally. Especially if they're not going to make anymore. But mainly, what I've been focusing on is just good deals. That's how I always try to do it. Watch. I was gonna tell you about this lot. Like I got this lot for 1,700.
That's right. And then I started ranting.
It has this. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's
What is that? It looks like a base set pack.
It's first edition French base set pack.
Oh dang! Sheesh.
So,
all right.
We got.
You gonna open that? We open that right now. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. Let's do it. No.
All right. Let's go. Let's go. What's it weigh? I'm curious. Have you weighed it?
I think it's light. I don't know the exact. I don't know for like French if it's any different, like the weights, but it's.
They are.
They are. That's what I thought. It's like 20. It's like 2031 or something like that.
You gotta look that up. You gotta look that up.
I tried looking it up. I couldn't find any info on the French.
Ooh, interesting. So that's a gambler's pack right there.
So I don't know. I was just gonna sell it, honestly.
Oh yeah, no, I know. You're not a ripper. You're not a ripper.
I want to. I think I told you, but I had 4 base set packs and 2 of them were heavy. And one was super heavy. And I was like, oh, I want to. But then I traded it for Michael Jordan card. So
did you ever talk to the guy and did he say he opened them or anything?
No, I traded it to a store.
So this is something that I've thought about that people don't probably think much about. But like as a streamer and as someone who sells these packs and stuff, like you sell packs too. Like you have heavy packs come through your hand just as often as I would say from what we've talked is what I do. But like the difference is when you sell a pack, you send it off. You don't get to see what's in it. When I sell a pack, I open it and I see exactly what's in it. And so that's both a good thing and a bad thing because like there are times where I've had packs just sitting like on my shelf of like vintage packs or whatever that I keep. And it's just been sitting there for like months sometimes at a time. And it's like, I'm wondering what's in it. And so I've almost broken down at times and just like opened it and said to myself, like, oh, at this milestone, I'm going to open it. At this milestone, I'm going to open it. So I've almost broken down and opened packs at times. But I will say being able to know that if when I do finally sell that pack that I'm going to be able to open it, it's not going to be for me. It helps me not open the pack because I know eventually I'm going to see what's inside of it. Now, if I was just going to be moving packs, like moving light and heavy packs and never opening it and just being like, I would probably feel like, man, I just got to open some of this stuff once in a while. But like the last time I opened packs, we opened 5 gym challenge packs. And they were packs that I thought were on the lighter side, but because gym challenge can't really be weighed, I wanted, and we're filling out our master set of gym challenge in a binder. And so I was just like, whatever, the commons, the rares, I need it all. It's a huge set. And so we opened two of the 5 packs were actually hollows, even though I thought they were all lights. And so like, you know, you never know, I guess, for those types of, but yeah, if I wasn't opening them on my channel when I sold them and I was just moving them like sealed, I would probably feel a lot more desire. But I guess because of that, I have almost no desire to open vintage packs for myself. Almost none.
I have 0. I mean, I feel like I got rid of the ripping thing, like ripping modern, because at the end of the day, you spend $50 and you get nothing. Like it's so. Hidden Fates was actually pretty good to me, but it's like I remember I opened Shiny Star V, and Shiny Star V was so fun. Oh yeah. And then you go back to Shining. What is it? Shining Fates, and I was like, wow, if you don't get the Charizard, it's really not. It doesn't feel that good. You know what I mean?
I could rip literally every pack in front of me of Shining Fates, which will probably have like 75 packs in front of me, and probably not get a Charizard.
It's not fun. So it's like I got burned too many times. Rip. No, because literally, I mean, for this, like this, I'd rather have the $500 than have the whatever's inside. Even if it's a Charizard, I'm like, I mean, obviously, like it's hard to say. Like if I knew it was a Charizard, of course, I'd rather have the Charizard. But I'd rather have the $500 than the one. What is it? Like it's 1 in 3 that it's a hollow, and then you multiply that by 1 in 16 for you getting the Charizard. So then it's like, I don't know. I'd rather just have the money, because then with the money, I put it into other cards. Those cards turn into more money, and it's like you just go from there. And I could buy a French, you know what I mean? If I sold this, I could turn it into a French first edition Charizard after a couple more transactions. You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
At what point do you feel like it's worth locking up capital in something that you would never move, or is there literally nothing that you have that you would never move?
Repeat that question.
At what point do you think it's worth locking up a good amount of your capital to like just, all right, well, you're like, if I buy this thing, I know I'm never going to get rid of it, so I might as well just take that money and throw it in the bank, but you get the thing instead. At what point do you like to do that versus do you have anything that you would do that with? Do you have anything that's not for sale, I guess, in your collection still?
Trico Gold Star 10?
Yeah?
I don't
know. No price on that?
No price. I mean, it's hard to say because if someone was like, I'll give you $7,000 right now, it's hard to like.
Diamond,
you know what I mean?
But it's not a diamond hands that like, because like there are certain things that like you could get that kind of an offer on and then be like, yeah, but I'll never get it again and it'll be worth more than that sometimes. So I probably shouldn't have made that offer, but I needed the money. So like if you take yourself out and be like, I'm never going to need the money, like, I guess, yeah, I don't have any of those things. To put it in perspective, I do not have any of those things currently. Everything I have is not a grail piece that I couldn't get back. But that 10 Trico, it's pretty top tough.
43. It's not like crazy like some of the higher end like trophy cards, but it's still, for me, it's one of the craziest cards I've ever owned. You know what I mean? But it's also like I'm in so cheap on it that I couldn't say no to a really fair market value offer in the current moment, you know, because it goes back to if someone offers me $7,000, I could use that $7,000 and buy out 3 crazy collections. And then that turns into what, like 15,000, 20,000, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to say no.
So basically the question is like, is it worth it to you to tie up capital in something that you think is really, and I guess you kind of answered the question in a way that I would kind of agree, is like, it's probably not worth tying up capital and high end stuff like that if you have the ability to move it or flip it and make it into something more.
Like, this is how I think about things. Like with this pack, it's like a $500 pack. I mean, it's cool, but I'm bad. I should have listed this like 3 weeks ago whenever I got it. You know what I mean? But I'm like,
3 weeks? Nice.
I think I got it 2 weeks ago, because last time we talked was probably 2 weeks ago. So yeah. I probably got it the weekend of. So it's probably been a week and a half. But I've been sitting on this forever. And it's like, I should have gotten rid of it and made the $500. But what I do instead is I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Let me find some other, I'm not going to say like junk. Let me find some other stuff that I value way less that equals this and start listing stuff for that to pay. You know what I mean? And it's like, I just like holding, like, it's fun to hold on to cool stuff. Like these cards, I showed you these, like the Skyridge 10 Golem.
So cool.
And then the Shining Gyarados first edition. I'm just holding on to them.
Cool.
I mean, I'm holding on to them until, I'm not going to list them on eBay, but if I go to a convention and someone's like, yo, that's Shining Gyarados though, how much do you need? And I'm like, market is like, whatever market is, 1,500. I don't know what it is. I'm like, last one sold for 1,500. And they'll be like, if they offer me 1,000, I'm not going to take it. But I'm like, bro, like, if they offer me like straight cash minus eBay fees, how can you not take that? You know what I mean? Like, especially, I feel like the way I play the game is like, I didn't pay 1,500 for this Gyarados. I paid like $400 plus grading fees. So it's like, why would I say no to 3xing available funds to put into other things? You know what I mean?
Have you been doing the PSA events, the submission events that they've been doing every few weeks or every week or so or whatever it is?
Yeah, I entered one last week and I got it. And before that, I entered one and they gave me 50 slots.
The one from this week, just a couple of days ago, was 20 slots.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're knocking on the door of the next service level, the $50 being open to the public, and then them doing that submission lottery for the next lower level down.
I'm excited. I pretty much went through, like, with that 50 submission slot, I think I went through a lot of the cards I needed to do at $50. So it's a lot of,
I feel sort of tossed about it, like, because on one hand, I need to be sending cards in to be graded. But on the other hand, I really don't want to give them money right now.
Yeah, that's respect, honestly.
And so I'm like trying to hold the line, but it's like at a certain level, I'm hurting myself by trying to hold the line there. And Just need to hand them with 20 cards at $50 a card. So like $800 or something.
Wait, so did you send that in?
No,
Or-
I'm saying, what is that? Like, what is that?
Like $1,000.
$1,000 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to bite the bullet and send them $1,000. I have 50 cards easily.
Dude, I think it's worth it. I mean, after I sent my 50 submission, like it's gonna cost me $2,500, but it's also like those were cards that I've been sitting on forever. Like they've just been in my room. So it's like, and I knew they were like easy 9s. So I was like, I don't want to sell this to somebody so they can get a 9. You know what I mean? I was like, these are like guaranteed 9s. They're knocking on the doors of 10s. And it's like, I didn't hit as many 10s as I wanted, but I knew the 9s were good margins anyways. But I was like, I'm not gonna just short sell myself selling these raw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the things that I need to get over, and I just need to do it because PSA, man, there's just something about that company that rubs me the wrong way sometimes. I understand that they are like the company, they're like our go-to. I really don't like it, and I'm gonna fight against it, I guess, as much as I have to, because it's gonna hurt me. It's gonna hurt me too. But
dude, I like PSA. PSA has allowed me to sell Pokemon cards full time. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And I should like them too, because because of PSA, I do think that even though their manipulation and their crappy ethics and business practices, and I disagree with their pricing, like at the end of the day, they've done a lot to prop up the hobby or to help just by existing. They've done a lot to prop up the hobby. Like, but I think they can do it more than just existing. That's all. I have hope that they can do more than just exist. That's all. So that's where I'm at with PSA.
I feel like they've been doing a good job in terms of dealing. Like one people's main complaint is the backlog, and they're like, I waited a year for my cards, and I get it, but it's also like, dude, how do I say this? I don't want to come off as like mean, but I'm like, bro, like they make your cards, like if you did it right, they make your cards 5x value, 10x value if you're doing it right. It's like, bro, like it's a year, it's fine. To 5x or 10x the value of your cards, it's like, why are you complaining? I'm sorry.
Send it and forget it. Just send it and forget it.
Yeah, that's always been my mindset with it. It's like, dude, like submit your cards. I know it's like I'm different because I approach it different. There's obviously a lot of people who like just submitted 10 cards because they're like important to them and they're like, oh, like I want these encapsulated. But it's also like it adds a lot of value to your cards. You know what I mean? If you played the game right. What was I gonna say? Oh, with the backlog too. I think they've been doing a great job. Like with the economy I sent in, watch, this is crazy how fast I got back my economy. Let me find it.
No, I just sent a pack submission in, and it was less than 2 months for my pack submission.
So I entered the raffle, and it was for 50 cards at $50. It arrived on March 4th. It got entered in the system March 7th, and they finished my order. It's still shipping, but they finished my order. I entered in the wrong credit card, so it would have been shipped a few days ago if I didn't mess up. But they finished my order. When did they finish it? They finished my order on Monday. So it was like March 27th.
So it's less than 2 months.
Dude, it was literally like, it was less than a month because they received it on the 7th.
And wow. So it was then. It was really.
They finished on the 28th. They just had to ship it. But so that's like 3 weeks. So I think they're doing a good job of dealing with the backlog while also taking into account new orders and finishing those in a timely manner. They finished way faster than I thought they ever would. And then like at the $100 tier, that'll come back in like 2 weeks. It's so fast. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and I mean they're quick. They're definitely getting quick about it, and it makes sense. They ramped up their employees and their like whole area, and they've added another building, and they're adding a whole new section in New Jersey and all this stuff. So yeah, no, totally, they're getting faster about it.
I think real quick, I think if anyone should get shit on, it's BGS.
Oh, BGS, yeah.
Dude, they're not doing shit. They just opened, I mean, they just opened their 150 tier and their 50 tier, but the 150 tier is going to take 3 to 6 months.
It's just so easy. It's like, it almost feels bad, like shitting on BGS. It's like you can make fun of PSA and CGC because they're like both kind of trying and they're doing stuff, but like making fun of like BGS is like making fun of the kid who's just like walking the mile, like just who has like asthma, and like it's like you don't want to make fun of that kid. Like he's trying his best. He's not ever really gonna join the race, really. So just let him do his thing. It's cool. Like I have asthma. BGS. I was that kid, so that's why I'm saying like, you know, I wasn't ever trying to run the mile, but yeah, like BGS, I just don't even think is in the question or in the like. That's why, you know. Sorry, BGS. This video is sponsored by BGS because they don't know how to operate YouTube, so they'll never watch it.
Dude, I sent 3 cards into BGS and I'm stressed about it. We'll see what's up, but I sent them the other day.
You send to BGS and you just kind of send it on a hope and a whim. You just kind of send it and hope that somebody somewhere receives it. Like, dude,
their website doesn't even work. Like I tried to do their online submission, and it was like I tried to enter in the cards and they're like, enter in your shipping address, and there was no box to enter in my shipping address. Like there is nothing. Like literally
bro, they're just gaslighting us all by having online submissions that don't work.
Dude, they're acting like they have it, but they don't. It doesn't work. So I literally had to print out a freaking form and then fill it out by hand. It was so bruh. It was like the worst experience of my life. And now it's like, I don't even know when they're going to get it. I can't like check the database or whatever. I just had to wait for them to email me. And it's like, dude, so we'll see what's up. But if they can give me a black label, then I don't even care. So BGS, give me a black label, please.
Black labels, that's a whole nother thing. There was just a scandal with black labels I heard about. There's scandals after scandal after scandal after scandal. Like, oh gosh, grading.
Do you think it's just one of those things though, where it's like we're hyper focused on grading right now and all that stuff, so there's always scandal? Do you know what I mean? Like if people were just grading and it wasn't such like in the spotlight right now, no one would even care. Like there'd be a scandal, but people would be like, oh, whatever, who cares? You know what I mean? And it's also that we're in such a social media driven thing where it's like this one thing did this one thing wrong, so let's call it out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's much more it's like everything's more hyper sensitive now because everyone's so connected because of the internet and social media. So like when something happens, we all feel it at the same time, so it's like amplified, and then we move on at the same time too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this hobby, man, it's just, I guess there's never a dull moment for it. But I have been noticing though, a lot of people have been dropping out, a lot of other like content creators and streamers. Like we saw a little bit of it a while back, a few months back, like we saw the beginnings of it, but I'm seeing even more of it. And I'm also hearing a lot of people, like maybe it's not a lot, but maybe a few people, like other streamers have come to my channel and they've sort of complained about like it's just not doing well for them, I guess. And lately,
like Whatnot streamers or YouTube streamers?
Whatnot. I don't necessarily have a lot of YouTube friends as much as I have more, you know, contemporaries on Whatnot, and so I'm more referring to like live streamers on those. And I've also even seen it on the Facebook groups, in according to like Drip, and in those live groups you used to do Rip and Ships. We're just seeing a lot less interest there, it seems like, and it feels like a lot of those hype beasts are kind of moving out of it, which is, to me, it feels like a good thing. I mean, that's kind of a good thing, honestly.
It feels good to me. I mean, obviously there's like pros and cons. Like we're not going to get those crazy numbers like we did, what, like a year and a half ago? Is that the time when it was?
Yeah, like so Shining Fates was selling for $140 an ETB at a certain point.
Dang, that's crazy.
Now
it's just like for me,
$40. Yeah, now it's
that's
40
crazy. Dude, because I remember I started Pokemon YouTube. I started when it was Hidden Fates. Me and Van ran around and we just made Hidden Fates, searching for Hidden Fates vlogs. And Pokemon YouTube wasn't that popular back then. It was very just like, what was it? It was very like Leonhardt. It's those handful of channels, and that was it. Mm-hmm. And dude, I remember when me and Van first started making videos, we would do openings. I'm gonna say this: the code snipers are the worst people of my life. I cannot
How do you
stand
figure? What aren't those?
Dude.
Are you supposed to have code snipers? Like, don't you want that?
I hate code sniper. No, I hate code snipers. I'm gonna put this out because they're toxic. They're the most toxic people I've ever. Yo, code snipers. I have a huge disdain for them. If we're going on a rant, I hate code
My
snipers because basically
girlfriend feels the same way. She hates them too. She always, whenever I do openings, she's always like, "Hide the code, like hide the code."
yeah, they're cringe. No, literally, because me and Van would just do openings and I'd keep the codes because I'd like playing online. And then literally there's a community of people who are code snipers and they downvote your videos if you don't post codes, and they comment like, so we got ratioed like so hard. It would be like we'd get like 200 views, but it'd be like 30 like dislikes and like 10 likes, and it'd be like,
What?
oh, and it'd be like, why don't you post codes? Where are the codes? And it's like, I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like it's pretty cringe. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like people out there looking for like a handout of like, oh my God. And it's like, bro, I paid for this pack. I want my stupid code. But that's besides the point now.
Yeah, I run auctions 3 to 5 times a week, live streams, 5 to 6 hour streams at whenever I sit down. It's about 5-6 hours at a time. And I have zero issues with toxicity. I never have issues with toxicity. The only time I've ever had to ban someone, the only time I've ever had problems with toxicity, there were 2 times, and both of them were giveaway streams. People get so toxic with free stuff. I wasn't selling anything, and yet the toxicity was abound. And in this particular case, there's a in the beginning days of Whatnot giveaways, there was an issue with like bots and people entering and not being real, and the robot thing, and it's a big problem. Like people were really frustrated by that. And so like it was to a point, at one point I was doing a giveaway that I gave away like a few packs, and someone won twice. Someone in my stream won twice. Heaven forbid. Actually, yeah, it was twice, and they had won one before in another stream, like in a day before. So it's like it felt like they won 3 times. The chat got so toxic. I had to start banning like people when I was like, I had to look at the camera. I had to turn and be like, yo, do I have to like do this and like turn to you and say, I will take away the giveaways if you can't handle it, like, and look at the camera and be like, look, you guys are acting like children right now. I'm trying to give something away. If it's a bot, who cares? That's on me. That's not on you. Like, people get all, so you're right. The handouts, giveaways, people get so entitled. They're the worst. Like, I can sell something all day. I can take your money and give you something all day. No one's going to complain. But the minute I try to give something away, people get so bent out of shape. It's so funny.
Dude, it's weird.
And honestly, I hear other YouTuber channels like calling out channels to do giveaways and be like, and like going into the comments and like trying to figure out if they actually did the giveaway or not. Be like, they're running a giveaway, but they didn't. And I get it. You want to hold people accountable and stuff, but at a certain point, it's a giveaway, bro. It's a giveaway. Like, I mean, do we really need to waste that much time dramatizing giveaways and stuff? So that's my gripe in the hobby, is like running giveaways. And I do run giveaways all the time too. Like on my channel, I do it on every auction, every 15th auction. I just give away because I want people who are there to feel like they can get into it, even if they're not bidding. And I just want them to feel like they're involved. So it's just kind of a small thing, but like that doesn't get toxic. But like when I run my only giveaway streams, those get toxic, and I have to have mods there because I'll have like 100 people in there, and like they'll just get toxic quick because people want that handout. So that's the thing in the hobby that I think is just a sign of its youth. I think, and I think we'll work past that probably.
That makes sense, honestly.
So I've been buying so many collections lately because people are just trying to dive out of the hobby. Maybe that's being partially my bearishness right now, is I've been like absorbing a lot of collections.
Dude, I wish I had more collections to buy. Oh, I didn't show you the collection actually.
Yeah, we keep talking about it, and then we get into a rant. So what kind of a collection is 1,700 total? So we talking like a few big cards or a bunch of little cards?
Bunch of little. Well, I mean, I feel like this paid for a big chunk of it. This already covers.
So that was a big part of it.
Yeah, that covers a lot. And then I got 3 of those binders. Watch, let me grab them real quick.
It's a good opportunity. Anyone who's listening now, make sure you like and subscribe here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Down in the comments here, or down in the description, we'll have all the links to both of our channels. But definitely appreciate you watching here. But yeah, I had to use
Pikachu
that.
World collection.
Nice. I love those Pikachu World collection things. Are you gonna open it and grade the cards? Or are you just gonna kind of keep it sealed?
It sucks because it's like slightly opened, so I might just open it fully and grade the cards. I'm not really sure yet. I'm scared to like open it and then the conditions are kind of mid. But we'll see what happens with that one.
I like the birthday Pikachu a lot. The non-hollow birthday Pikachu in that. It's really cool. It's got a cool stamp.
Dude, me
I
too.
enjoy that.
Oh yeah, the Neo
one.
binder.
That's the Suicune, Raikou, and Entei one with the Lugia and Ho-Oh. That one's cool.
Yeah, it's like these are each like $100. So I mean, and then this one too. And then so it also had the first one, whichever the first one is. It has like the Typhlosion, the Meganium, the Feraligatr. But
that one has a Charizard in it.
Yeah, it has the reverse one.
That one's worth a lot more than the other ones are.
I might sell like most of this, honestly. I feel like these covered a lot of it. Like these covered at least, I want to say. Let's see, 1,700 minus 5. That's 12. And if I guesstimate these as like 100 a piece, that brings it down to like I'm in 900 on the cards. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that's just like random numbers. I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head. But so basically, looking at the watch, I'll show you. Like, so these, I think I sent in like 6 or 7 with my like 20 recent subs. It was like an Espeon. There's a Light Arcanine. There's a Sabrina's game.
Modern or like vintage or like mid era?
It's all Japanese. It's all Japanese early WotC era. And they're all
Japanese. So like gym sets and like any base set, that kind of stuff, or
not a lot of base set. He had a Charizard he wanted to sell, but he wanted $1,000 for it. And I'm like, nah.
That's expensive. That's expensive.
It was too much. But he was down like we worked a good deal on these. Like I think all these right here can 10. These are all tenable cards. You know what I mean? Like they're not like, oh, this is a perfect 10, but it's like if I submit it, it could hit a 10. You know what I mean? And then I have like, dude, there's a lot in here. Like, let's see, 9s. These are the piles of 9s that I have right here. It's a decent chunk.
So those you don't think would 10, but you think they could possibly 9 or maybe 8 or something?
I think these are easy 9s. Like so I
they
think
could 10 then. If they're easy 9s, they could 10 by PSA standards. You know,
that's true. I just think they have like
10. You know,
I think they have like one thing of too much scratch on the back or something. You know what I mean? But
right.
I think these are easy 9s, and then it's literally like all these right here. This is the rest. It's basically at the end of the day, it was around. Oh, there's a lot of Top Sun in here too. I forgot to show you. But no, it was around like it was 200 holo cards.
So
200 plus.
The Top Sun cards, I recently learned that it's 1 in 30 packs to get one of those holos out of a Top Sun. Did you realize that?
No, I didn't. None of these are holo, but they're cool. Like
those are cool though. Gengar is so cool. I love that. Yeah.
Jolteon. There's
that's nice ones too.
They won't grade good. I'm sad about it because they look good, like if you just do a quick glance, but they have those weird like mini creases that Top Sun has. You know what I mean?
And they get a lot of staining too. Oftentimes on the backs, they have weird stains and stuff. I found when I get those in collections.
The Ninetales, the backs are really nice. Like
that's
the backs
good.
Are super clean. They just have weird random like mini crease flaws. You know what I mean? They don't even look like creases.
So like with creased cards, I always, if they're really clean and nice, other than the creases, I always think about, you know, and this is funny because I was just saying I would never recommend CGC, but I think about CGC there because there's a weird, like, there's this weird thing with CGC where like on one hand, people think that they grade really, really hard because they used to grade really hard and they kind of do at the highest end of things. But on the same hand, on the other hand, they don't actually grade that difficult on certain things. So like for binder dings, for like little Masaki dents, for known errors and little dings that happen on otherwise perfect cards, you can still get a relatively very high grade. Like you can pull a card that had for example, a PSA 6. A PSA 6 can be an otherwise perfect card, except it has a little ding in it, like a dent from a binder in the card. And so you can take that 6 and I've seen it get cross graded, or I've seen cards that were like 6s at PSA get then turned into CGC 8s. I've heard rumors of 8.5s having these types of imperfections, but 7.5s and 8s is a very, very real possibility on those cards. And that leaves a lot of room for like arbitrage between the grading companies that I think is, no one's talking about cross grading PSA to CGC. It's always the other way around. But I actually do think that with, and then maybe even ungraded cards that you wouldn't send to PSA because they're otherwise perfect, but they have a dent, and you don't want to get a 6. You can maybe send that to CGC and maybe do well with it, and they'd give it an 8. Who knows? It might be worth it. I don't know. You'd have to check that out, but there's been a lot of talk about that.
It's worth a shot. Honestly, in this slot, there's like a Sabrina's Gengar that has a bind. It's like a lot of these cards were really clean, minus binder dings, and then just like random scratches. You know what I mean? But
I got a binder collection from Diamond and Pearl era. It's in my PO box now, but I'm waiting to look at it because it looked really clean from the pictures, and the description claimed that it was essentially packed afresh, but it was or packed to sleeve, but 13 years ago. So, or like however long, like 10, 12 years ago or whatever, however long I think he said 13 years. So, but I'm very curious to see how it actually ends up being, because like, yeah, sometimes you get a whole collection where it's just like, man, this thing is minty, except for the binder dings. But it's funny that people just didn't know about that back then, because I didn't even know about that back then. So it's not really common knowledge. And until you come back in the hobby, you have one of your favorite cards get ruined by a binder ding, and then you're like, that's right, binder dings.
yeah,
I've switched over to non-ringed binders though.
I agree. They're way, way better. If not for binder dings, dude, I would have had at least, I think, 3 or 4 gradable, like tenable Sabrina's Gengars. You know what I mean?
The thing is, though, I think we can thank ringed binders for making Charizard as valuable as it is. Because where Charizard sits in the binder naturally is number 4 slot. In a 9 slot binder, it's there right in the middle. And so oftentimes people would have their Charizard right there in that 4th slot, and that's right in the middle binder. And so it ruined so many Charizards with binder dings that it probably drove up the value, and it artificially caused that card to grade lower than it would have probably with the mid grades, because there were so many binder damage that happened. So I guess we could probably thank that, the binders to a certain extent, if you take yourself out of it for a moment, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Try to see the silver lining of it.
Nah, that's respect, honestly. I don't know. I was gonna say I hate Charizard. That's another tangent, but that's just me. I like Charizard a lot, but I'm like, Charizard cards. Actually, never mind. I was like, I want a Skyridge Charizard. I'm lying to myself.
There's some cool Charizards. Charizard, let's be real, he's a cool Charizard. Charizard's a cool mod.
Yeah, Charizard is very cool.
He may be overrated. I'll give you that. But he's pretty cool. There's probably a reason why he's overrated.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's like, I like Pikachu too. I enjoy Pikachu. Like, I watched the anime the other day. I was like, it was longer than the other day. It was like a month or 2 ago. We were watching the anime. It was on the background. And I enjoy Pikachu and his antics. Like, he's a character that I like. And like, it's like, I don't know. It's basic, but I like Pikachu. And I don't think the franchise or the hobby would have been the same without Pikachu.
Yeah. No, I agree with that sentiment.
He's not my favorite, but like, I like Pikachu a lot. Like, if I had to like think about an important and influential Pokemon, obviously Pikachu's huge.
I like Pikachu more than Charizard.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that statement too. I think I would say he's more important for the hobby. And it always boggled my mind that Charizard was like the chase card in the TCG. I feel like Charizard isn't like the Pokemon, you know what I mean? It's only in the TCG that he is, like in the game, he's not that powerful. Like, and he's not even like, he has a couple mega evolutions. So yeah, people love him. People love Charizard, but like, I do feel like he's more of a big deal in the TCG than he is on the other parts of the franchise. Like, Pikachu's more influential for way more for the other parts of the franchise.
I agree. I super agree. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah,
But
man, I'm looking at these pack. I have a mountain of packs in front of me right now, and I'm looking at them, and I have so many more that I need to break down, and like I'm just thinking about the modern, the flood of product that's about to come, and I think we're in for the next coming months. I think we're in for some sideways to downward movement, and I think we better buckle up, buddy. I think we're about to see the market get really bearish really quick on Pokemon, and I know we were talking about this earlier, and you're talking me out of it a little bit, but like I think we're about to see a much different Pokemon, a much different type of Pokemon than anyone who got into it these last 2 years is used to in these next coming months. I don't have data to suggest that. I don't have a reason to think that other than a feeling, a gut feeling I'm having. Maybe it's just this hat. Maybe this hat's making me feel this way, but I'm getting a gut feeling about it. Like I don't think I'm gonna go and sell all my cards right now, but maybe I am. I don't know. I'm always selling my cards, so
I always sell all my cards too. I mean, I keep a lot of my cards, but I always sell like a lot of my lower end cards to keep my better cards. You know what I mean? But it's also like I haven't been selling that much Pokemon, so maybe I don't have enough exposure to the market right now to give a real opinion. I've been selling a lot of sports. That's where most of my like money has been coming from recently.
Pokemon slowed down. It has slowed down.
Let me see. Definitely on Instagram, it's slowed down. I would always have homies trying to buy stuff. Let me see eBay. What have I been selling?
I've been winning a lot of auctions that I would have otherwise thought that I would have lost. And that's typically an indicator to me, which means I've been buying a lot more than I typically do. So much that I've had to tell myself to pump the brakes. I've been like, yo, you're buying a lot right now. It's the market is coming down. Obviously, people, you can feel that. You need to realize that's okay. You're gonna have plenty of time. And so I've told myself, and anyone who's listening, I think you should also know this. You have time. Don't feel the FOMO right now. Like this is a time where you shouldn't feel panic. I don't think you should feel like you have to sell everything. You need to get out of the hobby or buy everything because it's all going to go up or go down. This is a time where I think that people should really start feeling a little more confidence and just starting to really build positions slowly and steadily and really try to just take their time on doing and accomplishing what they wanted to in the hobby, maybe that they couldn't do when things were going to the moon. So like I've said this before in bear markets in the past, like in the last couple of years on the channel, and maybe even on the podcast since we've been doing it. But like, I really mean it this time. I actually think we're going to see a lot of sideways to just like nothing, just movement of, and I think that's going to cause a lot of people to panic and think that means that like sideways means down. Sideways doesn't mean down. Sideways just means stable. And so I'm feeling like that's what we're coming into. Like, I think the Pokemon Go set will be good. I think we're going to get some good sets in between. Like, I really like the promo boxes they've been putting out. The modern, like, a lot of the modern stuff they're doing is fantastic with the art. I just don't see a big boom happening in the next year.
Yeah. I don't know. I have mixed feelings because some of the cards that I like hold on to are like I'm looking at this Metagross Gold Star. I'm like, I kind of undersold that. Like I had Metagross Gold Star PSA 9 and we're valuing it at 1,000, but there's been a couple recent comps at 14, like 2 1,400 comps. And I'm like, oh, and I feel like certain cards, they've actually been kind of going up. You know what I mean? I remember when Metagross Gold Star PSA 9 was sitting at $800. It was like 800, and now the cheapest one you can grab right now, that's Japanese. Cheapest one you can grab right now is 1,400. So I don't know. It's interesting. You know what I mean? And then the comps are at like around 1,400. I think it also depends on the types of cards. You know what I mean?
I was about to say the types of cards that we're looking at are different for sure. And like you said, we're in different sections of the market. And I'm still seeing new people coming into my streams quite a bit. I just hit 4,500 on Whatnot just a couple of nights, 4,600 a couple nights ago. Well, on our way to 5,000, and like there's still people. Like I'm still selling plenty. Like I don't want people to think that like we're not selling cards, like Pokemon's not moving, because that would be a inaccurate like assumption to make, because it definitely is. Like these boxes, these EV boxes sell like hotcakes. These things all day long. Same thing with the Brilliant Star ETBs, by the way. Those things are crazy. I personally think that ETBs are one of the biggest modern bags that there are, personally. What do you think? Do you think ETBs are good? Do you like ETBs, or what do you think about ETBs in general? I want to know your opinion, because I have recently come to the conclusion that I think that modern set ETBs, not holiday sets, just the ones that have booster boxes associated with them too, I think they're the biggest modern bag sealed product that there is, that people hold regularly.
I agree. What do you mean by bag? Like, do you think it's gonna like a good play, or do you think a lot of people are just holding them? What do you mean by that exactly?
Like, I think that so in a term that my Discordant has been using a lot with Pokemon has been bags, right? And there are two categories of cards. Either something is a bag or it's not a bag. And at the end of the day, like a lot of Pokemon cards are just going to be a bag for people to hold, and they're just not ever going to do anything. They're going to lose value. They're not going to stonk out. It's just going to be something that you're going to probably lose on in the end. That would be a bag, right? You're left holding something that, like,
oh, you're holding the. Okay, I see what you're saying.
We're playing the term bag holders, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I wasn't sure because a lot of people say secure the bag, and that's like a different, you know what I mean?
Different type of bag. Yeah, right. Not the good bag. Like it's not like the bag as in like the money bags. It's more like the giant bag of shit that nobody wants that you're left with because everybody told you it was great. And then everyone who told you it's great is on to the next thing, right? The thing that they actually like. So like, I personally think that those, obviously the biggest modern bag, and anyone, this is going to be spoiler alert to anyone who watches my next YouTube video, but the biggest modern bag that there is no surprise. Every single person I've ever asked this agrees. It's Charizard V. It's the Charizard V from Champions Path. That promo is the biggest modern bag that exists. But behind that bag, there are many other bags, right? There are levels of how big your bags are. And in my opinion, ETBs that aren't Hidden Fate, Shining Fate, Champions Path, Celebrations, Generations, Dragon's Majesty, you know what I'm talking about. Those ETBs that you can't get in booster boxes. Anything that has a regular booster box associated with it, if it's an ETB, that's a bag. That's a big old bag. That's a bag that people are lying to themselves about because some YouTuber told them, because they looked at YouTube and sold listings on eBay from the last 2 years where everything went to the moon and went crazy. And they said, look, I bought this ETB at $40 at the store. Now it's $2,000 in the case of like Plasma Storm or something. And so they say, by percentage, Plasma Storm booster boxes did not move up that much according to ETBs, because nobody wanted Plasma Storm back then. So they weren't buying the ETBs, they were buying the booster box because that's the right play. And so now, because nobody bought it, nobody wanted it, it's somehow more desirable because there's like collectability to it. That's a bag. That's a bag holder. That's someone who's trying to sell it to someone else, or because they couldn't get booster boxes at the time. The only thing that was available were ETBs. And so the normies out there, the people who couldn't get booster boxes, the true blue chip, the true real good item to invest in a Pokemon set, if you like that Pokemon set, if it's available, you couldn't get that in 2020. You couldn't get that in 2021. So what was the next best thing? It was ETBs. And it was the most readily available, the most talked about. You can go to your Walmart and Target. You can't go to your Walmart and Target and get a booster box. You could never go and get a booster box at Walmart and Target. You had to go to your evil scalper LGS. And you weren't even allowed to do that in 2020 because the government said, hell no. And so then what did they do? YouTubers, hype beasts, went to the next best thing. And they said, well, look, ETBs. And this narrative started being driven around ETBs being better than booster boxes. And people like to collect them because they look better on the shelf and blah, blah, blah. I will tell you right now, ETBs are straight trash. Nobody likes ETBs. Man, I'm feeling spicy tonight. Nobody likes ETBs. People who say they like ETBs better than booster boxes, they don't know a damn thing about Pokemon. The only thing they know is what YouTubers tell them, because they think somehow that's a better value than 36 booster packs of the thing they're opening the ETB for. It's a bigger product. It takes up more space. It has less value in it. How is anyone going to tell you that it is actually a good product? It is garbage. And the only reason that any of them are worth anything is because it's been considered garbage for so long that people didn't want those older ones. And now for some reason, everyone's thinking they want to collect them because they think they're going to stonk on them more. But in reality, it's just 8 garbage packs in a box that has a bunch of loose packs in it that's probably rumbling around, making it in worse condition. So I'm sorry, rant over, but Jesus, that's a big bag. I'm sorry. It is a huge bag. It is the biggest of bags, almost as big as the Charizard V. That's my point.
I respect it. I used to think ETBs were a good buy, but that's when I first started, because this is my exposure to ETBs is hunting Hidden Fates. Hidden Fates ETBs come out. They're so readily available. They're like dumb readily available. I could get them like whenever, not whenever, you know what I mean? Like people would buy them up, obviously, but I would get them. I opened up so many. I think I opened up like 20 of them. You know what I mean?
Right, but Hidden Fates is different because it's a holiday set that didn't have a booster box.
Yeah, but so anyway, so this is my timeline. So then I saw Hidden Fates ETBs go up to $400. It was like what, $300? Something
they were
like
pushing
that.
the 300 mark, yeah.
It was around $300, and I was like, wow, I literally could have had like 20 of those. And then it's like there was the narrative of they never remake ETBs. They're too hard to remake. They won't ever remake them. And I was like, dang, okay. So then going to Champions Path, I thought it was the same thing. But then they reprinted Hidden Fates ETBs. And then after that, I was like, all right, I hate ETBs. I'm not even going to mess with them anymore. That's literally what happened with me.
It's the narrative.
So now,
yeah, that's the thing. It's the narrative. That's the thing that I really dislike. That it's like the hype narrative, and like it. So I don't know. So you don't like them anymore? Like you don't particularly collect them, like, or anything like that?
No, I basically Champions Path, any Champions Path ETB I just sold it. What else? Any Hidden Fates ETB, I just sold it.
So I just bought a case of Darkness Ablaze ETBs.
Oh yeah, didn't they reprint those?
Yeah, and so this is a good time to talk about it. Darkness Ablaze just got reprinted. They were $120 in the ETB, which was the same essential price as a booster box of Darkness Ablaze. Until the reprint just happened, and now they're $40. They're $40 again because it just happened.
Crazy.
And like, if that doesn't tell you, that level of volatility doesn't say something about the product, then I don't know what will. And so like, I'm sitting here like, man, feeling like I'm kind of dumb for only buying one case of them because I could have bought more. But like, they're garbage. It's garbage. I'd rather have booster boxes. Like, give me a case of booster boxes, and then we're in business. Even on a garbage set like Darkness Ablaze. Even on a garbage set like Darkness Ablaze, I still might take booster boxes of it. But yeah, so that's anyone who's listening now who's going to watch one of my YouTube videos in the near future. I'm going to be dropping a new one. You already know my feeling about ETBs now. That was gonna be a big part of the video, is like how there's just this false narrative, I believe. And I think that they're going to be, well, I hope they're not lying. Let's just say I hope people aren't lying to themselves about why they collect ETBs. Because if they actually collect ETBs because they like to display them, I actually have some ETBs displayed in the background of my shelf, on my top shelf, and I do like how they look. But like, it's because I have them. I don't like, I'm not investing in ETBs, but it's just like they're there because they do look good. I will give it that. But man, does it feel like modern ETBs from sets like Brilliant Stars or Evolving Skies, even though Evolving Skies is highly collectible, I think that those are big old bags, just big old Costco size bags.
Dude, there's a lot of, oh my God, there's a lot of people with a lot of that stuff. That's all I gotta say. Like,
what do
there's a
you
lot
think the
of,
biggest modern bag is? If you had to name one thing, do you agree with my assessment that it's the Champions Path promo Charizard, or would you probably put something else?
The one that goes, like, the first thing that came to my head is Vivid Voltage ETBs. I just remember that's when everyone started collecting them.
And
That's
especially when they're like $130, right?
yeah, I
After
remember everyone. It's like, I don't know, they just bought them at retail and they're like, oh, it's 130 now. I'm gonna keep holding on to it, and then it dropped
has
in value like
Pikachu
crazy.
on it. It has Pikachu on it.
Dude, it was hectic. Even battle styles ETBs people were holding on to a lot. I saw that happen a lot.
Bags.
I don't know. People hold on to weird stuff, but those are the two. That's what I associate the most with this like era of like, I'm gonna hold, like, it's always the I'm gonna rip one and then hold one, and then they keep adding to that collection of just because it's like different, you know. Like, there's like people who have a bunch of ETBs because they're selling them, and there's a bunch of people who have ETBs because they think it's gonna go up. And I've seen that a lot. Like, I've seen it a lot on like Facebook groups. I've seen it a lot locally. Like, everyone has a tub of just sealed, and there's always a Vivid Voltage ETB. There's always a Battle Styles ETB. There's what else?
Shining Fates ETB.
Oh yeah, you can't forget that one.
Yeah. Bro, those are the modern bag holders, man. Those are bags, and there are so many bags of that. Did you see Leonhardt's most recent video about the store that he like, that some garage flipper on another YouTube channel found like a storage unit that had a bunch of Pokemon cards in it, and it was like an old storefront. And so they called Leonhardt over because they were in the same city in like Texas or whatever, and he showed it on his channel. But it was basically just like, it's just like a failed Pokemon store is what it was like. So yeah, it was interesting to see that, because it's like, just, it was funny. So you haven't seen it then? You didn't see that?
No, I haven't seen it, but I heard the gist of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I feel that it's also like here locally, like our scene isn't the strongest here, but it's like everyone is starting a Pokemon card business, and it's like it's based all the card businesses have the same thing, which is what they can find at Target. You know what I mean? So, and it's like, what did they find at Target a lot? Vivid Voltage ETBs, Battle Styles ETBs. Now it's like the Pikachu boxes, like the Pikachu V boxes or whatever. You know what I mean? And like,
the more or with the what's it called, the Mimikyu and Pikachu, and like it has a couple brain. Yeah.
It's a lot of like that stuff. Like, everyone's like a business now, and it's like, that's a great business model of finding stuff at retail stores and then getting $5 per box. Like, you know what I mean? Like an extra. I don't know, man. It's weird.
That's my point. Like, it's like that stuff is so accessible. It's just a bag. It's just going from one bag holder to the next. It feels like that. Like, so like, I wonder if like the hobby will cool off to the point where that will stop, where people actually start buying it because they like it again. You know what I mean?
I want
like,
it to stop.
Because
It'll
like
be nice.
You were buying Hidden Fates and doing that like because you liked it, like when you got back into the hobby. And that's, I was too. And like, I mean, there's a lot of people who still like it, right? But like the people who are stashing it and thinking that it's going to be worth like a bunch, like some of it might. I think there's some things that will probably appreciate well, but a lot of it, I think like 98% of it is just big old bags, just big old Pokemon bags that you're carrying.
I could see it. Like, literally everyone has a Pokemon room now. I don't know how to explain it, but everyone has a Pokemon room.
Everyone has a room just like this. Just
Pokemon
like
room.
This.
Pokemon room is the new man
Pokemon
cave.
business. Like, that's why I have this, but like everyone has this.
Yeah, this is why I have it, so I can list stuff and like organize stuff and keep everything. But it's like there's other people who just decided to turn their extra room into a Pokemon room because it's like,
honestly, that's fine. That's cool. Like, I don't want to like brag
dope
on someone who's not a business who does that. I should kind of walk that back a little, because that's what it comes across as. But the point is more so that like when everyone's doing something, the same thing, and thinking it's going to be a great idea, it might not be the most big brain idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
exactly.
that's the
Especially
point.
especially when it's something like, I mean, it's different if you're like in a music scene or something, and everyone's kind of like building that scene, but it's like, it's different when it's based off of something that's based off of supply and demand, and everyone's hoarding supply thinking that it's going to outweigh demand later on 10 years. But then when everyone needs to sell, it's like, oh, there's so much, it doesn't even matter. It's what happened in the junk wax era, you know what I mean? But they also overproduced the crap out of that stuff. So I don't know what's going on here in terms of Pokemon, but I don't know.
Good things are going on. I would say the future is bright. I still think that even with all this bearishness that we're around, and I don't think I'm going to sell off my collection. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen.
No, that's respect. I still haven't touched a lot of modern at all. I'll buy the EVs when I see them, those EV boxes. Like I'll buy the singles of that. Like when I'm talking modern, it's like the past 2 years. I don't remember the last thing I bought besides those EV promos. Oh, I bought a Celebi alt art from, what is it? Fusion Strike? Yeah,
like
I bought that.
$20. Yeah, those things are like $20 right now. They're fantastic.
I got it for 25. The art is like perfect centered, really clean. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like I'll buy those, but I haven't touched modern boxes. I haven't touched modern cards in a long time. I'm almost to the point now where I want to do it for YouTube. Like I want to do like modern Mondays or something, and I'll just talk about modern and open modern stuff.
Modern's because at the end, I like it. I open it a lot though on my channel, so I'm super spoiled. I've been getting these.
Those are nice. I've been buying up a lot of those too. I feel like when I consider those though, those aren't like as ultra modern as the other stuff.
No,
do you know what I mean?
No. Yeah, no, these aren't ultra modern. These are Sun and Moon, and they're still cheap. Like
I think those are definitely a good play.
Yeah, I'm trying to add to my modern bag position.
Watch, I'll show you modern bags. Let me find mine.
That's the kind of modern bags I've been picking up.
Let's see. I think this is it.
Yeah, those are the types of modern bags I've been trying to pick up.
Oh, it's hard to do this.
Oh yeah, those ones. The ones from the collection boxes, the little Generations collection boxes.
We're on the same page though. Look.
Oh, those are dope too. Yeah.
A bunch. It's literally just pages of these because they're cheap. They're so cheap and they're so readily accessible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those the Arceus, the Dialga and Arceus is so nice. I love that Espeon too. All of them, man. They're all
good. The Espeon was
they're good. Bro. Like people are sleeping on that era. Like I don't know what it's gonna take for people to want those, but like these alternate arts that they make now are good, but they're so modern. Like those ones are like they're not gonna make more. They're fantastic too.
The Espeon one at a point was like $2 a piece. I still think it might be. Dang. I'm gonna look it up. I need to know.
Espeon?
Yeah, the Espeon Deoxys.
Wow. No, I feel like I bought a couple of them, and I think they're like almost $10 now.
Oh, they gone up a lot. No, dude, I was buying those for like $2-3.
Yeah, I mean these EVs, the EVs from the boxes, those things are like $10.
I need some more of those, honestly.
I don't think that I think $10 is like as low as, I mean they could go to $1 easily, but like $10 is like, man, that feels like a good price.
Yeah, I can never find those in the store, which is sad.
That's why it feels like a good price. It's like they are so hard to find in stores. They get bought up real quick.
And then I use my local LCS as kind of like a guideline of what's coming in and out, and I never see those promos. I saw one, and it was like really off center. It was almost off center to the point where it would have an alignment dot, but it wasn't there. So I was like, bro.
They always have little tiny white dots in the corners because they are pretty hard to get out of the box in good condition.
Dude, that Espeon is $10 now. I just looked at it.
Yeah, I just bought a couple.
That's crazy.
All of those tag teams have gone up significantly. Besides, I think that Venusaur. For some reason, the Venusaur Celebi is still like $4.
That's so interesting. Yeah, no, dude. For that Espeon Deoxys, I bought I think I bought 15 of them. I should have bought more. I was doing a video where I bought like a handful of every type of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just to like have them. I should have put more money into it, but that's life.
Yeah, those tag teams are good. Like they're good, especially the Mew and the Mewtwo one. That one's really cool. The Headache one, that one's really nice.
The Mewtwo one. Oh yeah. No, that one's good. Do I have any of those? I think I sent all the ones I had to get graded.
Yeah, those are smart. I have a stack to get graded of those too. The thing is, they have those little corner dings that come from the 10s that they came in at that time period. So I
Yeah.
bought my method has been I just bought like 30 different ones from a whole bunch of different sellers on TCG Player, and I'm hoping that some, literally any of them, come out looking good because like they're so hard to get in good condition.
Yeah. No, I feel that honestly. But I don't know. There's a lot of good plays to be made still. It's just like, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's the play that everyone is talking about is not the play. You know?
Yeah, that's the lesson. I think that's a big lesson to be had. And it always comes back to like you got to trust your gut, right? Like when you're selling and buying and like when you're investing, you kind of have to trust your gut because like you can throw a dart at a board and you could have just as successful, as most of the time as, actually picking and choosing. You may have about the same track record. But I think there is something to be said about trusting yourself and trusting your gut, especially when it comes to something like this, where like, chances are if you really enjoy it, chances are someone else probably does too.
Has anyone made videos about these yet? The early alt art tag teams and stuff?
Danny Phantom just made one a few days ago, like a week or so ago, saying like these things are really starting to appreciate in value now. Like go check them out before it's too late. And I don't know if they moved up since then, but I've been buying them. I still buy them.
Okay, that makes sense. I'll probably chill on buying them for now then. Because yeah, no, these were also they made so much sense. Like this EV Snorlax was like $4.
So that one's actually very expensive. That one's like $15 right now. It's hard to get that one.
Is it now?
Yeah, that one's almost $15. The EV Snorlax from the tins. Out of the three, there's Pikachu, Venusaur, and then the EV Snorlax in those 3 tins. That one's the most expensive, which you would think it was the Pikachu. It's not. It's the EV Snorlax.
I love the Pikachu Zekrom too. Oh wow, that is up, dude. These went up so fast. What the hell? Yeah, no, I remember I picked up an EV Snorlax out of like a card. It was one of the collected cons. It was in someone's random box, and they wanted like $7 for it. I was like, I'll give you 4, and they're like, okay. And then that's all the only one I have though.
Yeah, those tins that people didn't want them. They thought they were promos that people didn't want. And they're like, you know what? We just want the cards inside. We don't want the promos. Now you don't want the booster packs. You want the promos.
Dude, the promos look too good to like not want them.
That's my thought. It's like, how can people even say that about those cards? They're so cool looking. Like they're so nice.
They look way too good.
The new boxes they've been putting out have been really nice. Like there's a Lucario box that's coming out. And the Lucario is not a regular crappy V Lucario. It's a full art. And then the V-Star. So they don't even give you a regular V. It's a full art. The silver bordered, textured, full Monty. It looks really good.
Dang, that's crazy, honestly.
Yeah, so they're learning. They're learning people like better promos.
That's dope. I don't know. I guess I'm holding on to a lot of cards when I really look at it, but I'm also just too lazy to sell them. You know what I mean? Now that I'm looking at this binder, it's a lot of like Aquapolis rares and like a lot of e-reader like kind of stuff,
Yeah, when I stash stuff back, I legitimately forget about it. And I have so many things that I've just like forgotten about that if I ever start like digging, I would find it. I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably sell this sometime. But usually when I stash something like that, it's because I think that it has some sort of a value that I think will be nice to stumble upon later.
Yeah.
So
no, that makes sense. The ones I like a lot too are
yeah.
I like I forgot what era it is, but the shinies like these.
Oh, the black and white ones? Yeah. Oh no, that's the platinum era. I love that.
I like both of the eras, honestly, and then like this.
I love those. Yeah, and that's the black and white era. I like that one too.
I like all those. I think those are super dope, honestly.
Those are very underappreciated.
And they're hard to find. I never find them in good condition. So if I have them in good condition, I'll usually hold on to them.
They're really hard to get in good condition. You have to almost pull them out of a pack fresh because back then nobody was like, they didn't care about them.
Yeah, it's like all the ones I find are like either super damaged or they're like at the best they're like 8s. You know what I mean?
Or, yeah, like 6 to 7 or something, and 8 on a good day, basically. Yeah,
dude. Yeah, no, they're hard to find in good condition. So I don't know. There's a lot of cool cards. I always forget there's a lot of cool cards to buy, and I just like buy them, forget about them.
Yeah, and I have a bunch in my my slab box of like cracking for like cracking and resubbing for later that I've just like forgotten about because I'm like don't want to think about having to crack all those slabs and like go through that. But one day I'm gonna have to do it. So
Yeah, no, with Pokemon, what I like selling a lot is just like what WotC hollows. I feel no guilt selling any WotC hollows at all whatsoever. I literally don't care.
None at all. WotC hollows, I'll sell them to the day I die. I have my
Yeah.
one beat up set for my binder. I'm happy with it. I don't know. So yeah, here's a question I was thinking about. I saw a Ninetales, a base set Ninetales PSA 9 go for $101, right, in an auction. And so
Uh-huh.
for $101, I was asking myself, would I rather have that base set Ninetales PSA 9 or 10 of those tag team Sun and Moon era tag team modern cards that we're just talking about? The say for example the Pikarom was $9 something per for the alternate art promo. And so I could have 10 of those versus the one Ninetales. I would rather have the Sun and Moon eras. I'd rather have the Sun and Moon era alternate arts than the base set Ninetales, this historic piece that could regrade maybe a 9 or a 10.
I agree. I don't like base set too much. I don't own any base set cards. Do I? No, I've sold every base set card I've gotten.
The artwork's just so like, it's iconic, but it's so basic.
I like the art. I don't like the lack of scarcity, and I don't like the lack of I don't know. It's like 9s of those are so common. If it's first edition, it's a different story. Definitely, first edition's a different story. I think Shinings are different. Like Shining's not base set though, but I don't like base set.
Yeah, no, that's my point though. Is like base set is base. I don't like it either, and I don't know. Like, it has that history. It's the first set people go back to. I just don't like it. I guess I'm just not a big base set fan.
I don't like base set. I would never collect any base. The only base set hollows I would hold on to is 10s, because 10s are crazy, like dumb to get. Base set 10s, I would definitely keep. Base set 9s, there's so many. Like, I think that, just watch, I'm gonna look up the discrepancy right now. I know it's like a huge discrepancy.
It's big, yeah. And that's also because a lot of 9s were cracked and resubmitted to get 10s. So a lot of them got cracked and got put back into the system as 9s again when they didn't regrade.
Watch Charizard. There's 448 10s in base set. There's 6,189 9s. The discrepancy is crazy. There's also 6,958s. There's also 5,207 7s. It's just like the numbers aren't there for me. You know what I mean?
Is that
for me to want it.
That bag or not? Base set Charizard
Base set?
Bag or no?
That's 10 is not a bag.
Oh no, not a 10, not a 10. No.
What grade? I need more context.
Raw binder copy that you find in a collection that could grade between a 4 and a 7.
I don't know.
That's a bag, right? That's a freaking bag. It may not be a big bag, but it's a bag.
For me, I guess it's a bag, because I was gonna say for me, what I would do is I would grade it $50, get it back, sell it for whatever grade it was, get the money and call it a day. So I guess it is a bag.
Now, if you could sell it and make money on it, I don't know. I'd have a hard time actually calling it a bag at that rate, because you're actually making something off of it. But like,
oh, you're saying if I bought it for market right now?
Yeah, like market price.
I can't buy market price. But that's just me. You know what I mean?
Bag, right? It's a bag. If you did, like, it's not something that I can speculate on and be like, oh yeah, base set Charizard. Oh yeah, that's the one. That's it right there.
I would not buy that at market price right now. There's only a handful of cards I would buy.
But it's the most iconic card in the hobby. So like, that is such a crazy thing, right? I mean, it just feels like it's so nuanced. I guess that's the beauty. That's why we have a podcast. So we're almost 3 hours on here, because there's so much lovely nuance in this hobby, right?
A 10 I would buy, but there's so many better. Like, a 10 is obviously the best move. I don't even know. But yeah,
goes for like, what's a 10 of a base set unlimited go for these days? Like 10 grand?
I have no clue. I wouldn't even buy Charizard. I'd buy a different Pokemon and just hold on to it.
I know the 9s go for like 1,200. So if the 9s go for like 1,200 of base 9, so usually it's like a 5-time multiple, but it's Charizard, so we'll probably say it's like 7. I bet you base set Charizard goes close to 8 to 9 grand for
I don't
10.
Know.
I don't know though. I have no so I'm not looking it up, so I could be completely off. But But yeah,
I wouldn't buy it.
I think
I
it's
don't
a
know.
bag. I would consider that to be not a modern bag, but that's a big Pokemon bag right there. Like you just got to get your copy and move on to more exciting things. Anyone who's listening this far in the podcast, I know you might like base set Charizard, but I know you know better things than that. So there's no one who's made it this far who doesn't know better things than base set Charizard.
I'm still trying to debate that if I had the money right now for a base set Charizard PSA 10 Unlimited, if I would buy it or not.
Like
Because
what? How much is it? Like, is it? I wonder what the last comps are. Like, is it like close to 10 grand? Because like you can, if it's 10 grand, you can easily equate that to like what else you would get besides that. Because for $10,000 in this hobby, you could get yourself a lot of different things, or one big thing. You could get
a 10 just went for 9,900.
So
pretty
about
much
10 grand. So that's about
pretty
right.
much
Yeah, that's
10
exactly what
grand.
I would expect it to be. Wow. So you can get yourself a booster box of first edition Jungle, a booster box of first edition Fossil, a booster box of you can't get a base set booster box. That's going to cost you another 4 grand. But if you're getting a base set booster box, you're kind of just looking for the Charizard, right? Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're looking for all of it.
I don't know, honestly.
So I don't know, man. Like 10 grand for that card. It just like, why wouldn't I just look at my Charizard that I have, you know, for that amount, and then get something that's truly rare that like is actually unique and hard to get? Like, didn't one of those, I don't know, those trophy mysterious pearls go for like 8,000 or 9,000 just recently? I'm pretty sure a graded one just went recently for like 8,000 or 9,000, like a mysterious pearl Japanese trophy card. And I don't think that that's a particularly cool card, but I do think it's more rare and probably, and to me, cooler than the Charizard, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I'm like, I was like, I'm a conditioned, or like I'm a PSA 10 like fanboy, I guess, because I'm like, I'm still tempted to get the Charizard 10. You know what I mean? I need to look at the first
I
edition
don't like
pops.
graded cards. So asking someone like me, I'm going to say, yeah, I would rather have the sealed product of like equivalent age and rarity and scarcity, like a sealed WotC booster box. I'd rather have a sealed WotC booster box than a PSA 10 base set Charizard.
That's respectable. I'd rather have like, I don't know if you can get a complete set of 10 Skyridge Hollows.
Oh no, not for 10 grand. No way.
How much is okay? I don't even know. I'm like so out of the loop.
The Charizard
minus the
alone
Charizard.
PSA 10's like 15 grand for the crystal. No, I think it's closer to 20.
Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was like 17 was maybe the last sale I might have heard about. There could have been others, but
yeah, no, that sounds about right. I meant like minus the crystals, like just the only like the hollows. You know what I mean?
The hollows themselves, how many are there? There's like 20 plus, right?
Dude, I have no clue. I almost feel like there's 32 of them.
Yeah, I think there's more than 20, because I know I have one with 26. It's never of H26 as one of my Skyridge Hollows. I don't know which one it is, but pretty sure it is. So I think they're at least $500 to $1,000 a piece for the less desirable ones for the 10s. So I don't think you'd be able to get the whole set of the hollows for 10 grand. I think you get maybe a third of it.
I don't know. Those cards are out of my league, so I'm like, I don't even know. You know what I mean? But I have a question.
It's a would you rather game, though, right? I love that Blastoise. The Expedition one's so much better than the base set.
It's base set Japanese. Does that matter to you?
It's a lot of people. It does. It's the true original OG, like, you know, rookie cards of the hobby.
I'm interested. I don't know. Some guy told me, like one of the homies told me to hold on to like base set Japanese, and I'm like, I don't really want to, but I'm like, you know what I mean?
It's supposedly rarer than English. There's less of it, supposedly.
Okay. I'm just curious. You know what I mean? But
it's that question of like, am I jaded because I'm so niche into the hobby that I don't like those things that I first really got into, like base set, and so I'm like holding myself back by feeling that way? Or is it truly that basic that like I've been in the hobby long enough that it really doesn't matter, where it's like base set sucks, it's just like basic, and like there's so many cooler things that you move on to like after base set. So I mean, there's an argument either way to be had. I don't know what the right argument would be, to be honest.
Dude, me either. Because I remember he was selling a lot of stuff like this, and he told me, dude, like base set Blastoise PSA 9 Japanese was like, it capped at like 1,500. And I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy.
And now it's what, like 300 tops, 200?
It's like $300
tops, right? That'd be like on a good day, right? Yeah.
It's like 340 is like the like high. You know what I mean? 300 is like, you could I'm probably listing someone to probably buy it in a couple, like a week or so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Blastoise is pretty liquid. He's a water boy.
But I don't know. I'm like, homies are telling me to hold, and I'm like, is now the time to hold, or should I just put this into this creates another thing. I hate thinking about all this stuff, because I was like, I'm just gonna sell for $300 and use that $300 to buy other things. You know what I mean?
But like, that's the question you have in these types of markets. That's why I have the hat. That's why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. It's like, I don't think I'm going to make any big, like crazy drastic moves, but it's always worth talking about, right? It's worth mentioning, because like the market is always moving. You can either do nothing, or you make a move, right? It's always a question, like, when is a good time to make the move?
Yeah, that's true. I think the time to make a move is always good.
That's true.
It's like, if you're buying and selling like in this instant right now, how do I say this? There's no way you can necessarily lose if you're in this current market. Or like, no, how do I say it better? If you're in the present and you're buying and selling, everything is there. Like, do you know how do I phrase it? You'll
average out in the end, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you take your L's, but you take your wins too. And right now the market is still relatively fluid.
Yeah, and it's like, even if you take a bunch of L's, it's like fine. And even if the market crashes, it's fine. It doesn't matter. You can even make money. You can make money in a really bad market. It doesn't really matter. You just have to figure it out.
For sure.
You just have to adapt.
Definitely make money in those markets too. People do.
Like, the markets are slow. All you can do is, you know what I mean?
I feel like right now with like pack breaking, there's a lot of competition. It's a little bit stagnant, and I'm just kind of moving through it, but it's still moving, so it's still fluid.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like, at the end of the day, even if it slows down a lot and it becomes oversaturated, there's ways for you to evolve and adapt to put yourself above other like competition. You just have to figure it out.
100%. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, that being said, if you made it this long into the podcast, make sure you go and like and subscribe now to this channel. But more importantly, go to our sister channel, which is going to be the main channel that this podcast is going to be. This episode is loaded on it, but so will all future episodes. But yeah, go to the Cardboard Hands podcast, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already. You made it this far, you've got to be a fan. So definitely go there and subscribe. It helps us out quite a bit. We're gonna move it over there soon though. But yeah, I think we made it to about 3 hours here. We did pretty good.
Should we call it? I think we should.
Probably a good time to call it.
Yeah, it's like 11 over here, so I still need to wrap up some other stuff.
Yeah,
but it was a good talk.
Always
it's fun.
You talked me off of the cliff. I guess I'm not going to sell all my cards after all. I'm still feeling the bearishness though. I don't think I'm quite feeling like it's going to be, it's all going down, but I feel in the coming months, I'm going to be buying a whole lot than I typically do, more than I typically do, because of that bearishness. And that's just how I operate in bearish markets. I buy a lot more.
Yeah, I'm hoping I find more collections. Like, collections are so fun. That's another thing. But I love going through collections and seeing what's gradable, what's not gradable, what I can sell, what I can't, like what I don't want to sell, what I want to keep. It's very fun.
You will, I'm sure, be able to find more collections, and you need to make a video about that collection that we kept on going through today that we never even got through, because I want to see that. So
I've been working on it. It's just like, I've been trying a new editing style, so it takes a lot longer. Like, I'm trying to copy Pat Flynn so I can kind of be more on that like on that wavelength, because it's easier to like digest and it's more mainstream.
You hear that, people? You hear that? He's got something new in the works. He's got a new editing style. You better go check out Flex's channel. He's gonna be putting some new stuff on it. That's pretty cool.
I've been working on it. It just takes a long time.
Hell yeah,
You know
it
what I
does,
mean?
bro. There's a reason why I don't edit my videos. It takes forever.
I just want to make it edit. I want to make edits and make it more like accessible to mainstream. So we'll see what's up. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, maybe the listeners will be lucky and we might even thumbnail this particular one. We'll see. Who knows? Well, if you guys made it this far, thanks again. I appreciate you tuning in. Until the next week or the next time, hopefully you guys are out there finding some deals. I know it's a great time to be buying, so take advantage of that market. And don't be afraid of my bearishness. I think it's just it's all in good fun. I think we're heading for some good place. Any closing statements here you want to make here?
Buy collections, sell collections, make the moves you got to make. That's pretty much it.
Like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, do that too.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Later.